Hello and welcome. My name's Super Saiyan and this is your weekly news and pre-order video. Firstly, the news. Now, pictures have just emerged of a box set of Adeptus Custodes. If you know me, you know my channel. I have 4,000 points of Custodes already with the Orion Flyer and all those other things. So yeah, very interested in this. Don't know if it's fake, don't know if it's real, but these pictures have surfaced. It looks like there's 3 of them, which includes a shield captain that doesn't have a shield, a Vexillus Praetor, and an Alaris Custodian, and that's what they're called. They're called the Alaris or All Arus or Alarus. So there you go, pick your pronunciation with all those. So that was the news. The other news is I'm shooting this video before the open day today, which is January the 6th, the kind of New Year's open day and things. But what I will be doing is I will be putting photos and pictures of their breaking news, because they try and do this over the day now on the Instagram. And then the last final bit of news is all of the Nurgle releases and things. You may have watched my White Dwarf video where you can look at all of the Nurgle pre-orders and new releases coming out. There's going to be quite a few today and we'll go over them very shortly, and then there'll be a few still left over for next week. I like the fact that Nurgle are getting some love. They got some love obviously with the Death Guard release a few months ago in 2017, and obviously last year Tzeentch got the love, and the year before Khorne did. So in reality I think it's time for Slaanesh to get some love, there's no pun intended, and I really hope that they pay homage to the theme. All the boils and the pus and the spots and things are part of Nurgle as much as the sort of sexualized kind of lust imagery of Slaanesh. What makes that faction, and I hope they don't sort of deviate from that and, you know, censor it, but we'll see, who knows. A couple of final bits of news is you can vote for your 2017 Miniature of the Year. I'll just click that now. You don't need to log in or sign in or anything like that. You basically just click on it and you can just vote. It looks like that has disappeared here though, so maybe that has gone already. But the second bit of news is Forgeworld, a month-long competition. Every week, if you spend £50 or more, you're going to be entered into a prize draw. Last week was the Hierophant Bio-Titan that you could have won. I think one of these is like £270 now. I remember when they were like 140, 150. But you can win one of those. At the moment, you can win a Eldar Revenant Titan, which is here, look, so you can win one of those. One of those is £220, so actually a cheaper prize than the Hierophant. However, the Revenant Titan again used to be £150. Who knows what it will be next week? I think it will be a good week if they have a Warhound Titan, because one of those with the weapons is about £370 odd now. Don't know whether they'll have a Reaver or they'll have a Warlord Titan if you spend £50, but hey, who knows? You've got a few more weeks of these competitions. If there's something that you've been wanting to spend your £50 on and you're itching to use that, your free delivery vouchers that you got in December, then there you go, it gives you that means. So that's it for the news. Let's have a look at the pre-orders for this weekend. So if we go on to new for Forgeworld, you'll see that the Age of Darkness rulebook that actually came out I think a week ago or so, flew under the radar a little bit. I managed to get my hands on one at the last open day event, and it looks like quite a meaty book. £40 would have been nice if it was sort of 30 or 35. I think one of the main reasons it's 40 is just to keep in line with the 40k rulebook, but obviously there's nowhere near as much sort of depth in terms of lore and pictures and things like that in this book as there is in, you know, the normal 8th edition rulebook. But the main pre-order this week on the Friday yesterday was the Spaceballs Legion Praetor. Now this is £25. Yeah, it's an odd model. I think I put on my Instagram that it's a great looking model. That's just because it's new, and I normally do put this is a great model or whatever. Normally reserve judgment for models when I've got them in my hands. Saying this model is good or bad is only sort of half the story from sort of building it, painting it, and how it looks with the rest of the models in that kind of range. I felt felt the same with Mortarion. When I first saw those pictures, I thought, that is terrible. Such a horrible paint job. I didn't really like it at all. But having had one, glued it together, painted most of it, I really have, you know, that really changed my mind. People have commented about the fur, the pelt. It looks like bananas the way they've done it. Honestly, I do like the smaller, thinner sort of pelt. If you look at the Horus model, it is different. I mean, you look, I mean, that is like a, you know, proper kind of wolf kind of, you know, fur bundled up a bit. That I much prefer that to what we've been offered sort of here. It is a bit, yeah, it's odd. It is odd. People have commented about the bullets loading into the gun itself and how big they look. You know, yeah, they do look pretty big. I mean, these combi bolters typically have these small exit ports as well. I've always seen them as smaller than sort of bolt gun exit ports, because they're, you know, more rapid firing, I'd say. But yeah, these bullets definitely do look, you know, quite large. The chainsword looks a bit small, bit thin, but you know, that's sort of excusable. I do like the pose though, you know, sort of aiming and with his chainsword upright. But yeah, I think this model's going to be a bit sort of Marmite for people. You're either going to really like it because you're into Space Wolves and you don't, you know, you don't mind these pelt things, or you completely hate it and you think that you know, that they made quite a few mistakes and things. But there you go. So that is the main pre-order from Forgeworld this weekend. Okay, let's hop on over to Games Workshop's web store, where everything is going on this morning. We've got this advert for Nurgle's Mightiest Demon, Cavalcade of Corruption. Quite a big word for a Saturday morning. If you go to new and exclusive, you'll find a few of them here. Yes, I have some recently viewed products, a bit of a teaser. Go into pre-orders and we'll just view all, and we'll look at price high to low. So here we go. Thricefold Befoulment, £255. Mathscat has quickly rushed into the room and confirmed that you don't save any money by getting 3 of them. It's going to be just £85 times 3. And it's the same for this week's Nurgle pre-orders, which includes the Great Unclean One, the Feculent Gnarlmaw, the Spoil Pox, and Horticulus Slimex. So you don't save any money by getting all of those 4 models. 4 models now, £150. It's yeah, it's getting very, very expensive. I know that one of them includes this £85 model, but yeah, it's getting pricey. You know, there's no denying that whatsoever. Let's have a look at the big baddie of this this weekend's pre-orders, which is the Great Unclean One. I did put a post on my Instagram, I mentioned it earlier in the video, asking people what their top Great Unclean One was, and got about 20 comments or so. Mainly people have said the Forgeworld one. Even got a reply sort of 20 hours ago or so. Most people prefer the Forgeworld one, which is right here. £125 for an extra £40. You're getting this bad boy. Yeah, it's a great looking model. It's big. It's probably as big as the Games Workshop one. The head is definitely bigger and in more proportion, in my opinion. You got, you know, a load more guts and things. That's it next to a Sorcerer, which I think is quite an old model now, but you can get a Nurgle Sorcerer separately, and you've got different horns and things for this guy. But yeah, nowhere near as much as sort of customizable as the Games Workshop one. But he is around if you were interested. Drop in an extra sort of £40 for a more detailed model, and as we've just found out, the better looking one in people's opinion. Anyway, moving back to the Games Workshop one, quite a lot going on this model, a lot to take in. £85, a fair bit of money, so it's the same price as Mortarion. Mortarion's £85, I think. Magnus is £80. He comes with a load of Nurglings, which to me is an instant buy. You've got this guy here with this sword, will rival the cuteness of the Nurgling with the helmet for the Death Guard. I'd like to see them both on their own separate bases. That'd be awesome. You've also got this Nurgling as well. He's got his own sort of bath bomb there, and or incense ball, and hugging onto one of these tentacles as support. Load of chains, some big skulls there with the three holes almost drilled out, but they're just shaded, aren't they? Kind of look like bowling balls, really, with the three. Yeah, so yeah, lots of detail on this one. You can have him in sort of 3 different versions. You can have him as the normal Great Unclean one. You've even got a little Nurgling being squished out. That's excellent that they're adding this much sort of gore on the models now. Basically, his arm has been just exploded, or maybe that's a spot in mid-burst, who knows. Then you've got some skulls under this festering kind of wound thing. Yeah, lots and lots of detail. Then you can make this guy, this Cyclops, kind of reminds me, other than like his big grossness and stuff, kind of reminds me of like the Cyclops from sort of God of War, that kind of face kind of thing. For added detail, they've even included this face like demon on the end of his tongue. I don't know whether that's needed. I don't know whether you need an extra face with horns and stuff on your tongue, but this model has got that. And yeah, instead of the big sword, he's got this big bell and this kind of curved dagger type weapon as well. So the detail there with the shading and the highlighting is just immense, just absolutely incredible. That's this sort of version of the Great Unclean one, and then you've got this one, which is I think Rotigus, I think. So basically 2 different heads, and then you can make Rotigus as well. So it can be added to Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and the kit can optionally be used to assemble special character Rotigus, which obviously is in the Chaos Demons Codex. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So there's some just more pictures of those, and of the bell one, and this sort of festering sort of bingo wings going on. But yeah, Rotigus is pretty cool. I think that's quite a short sort of staff, really. It'd be nice if it was a bit bigger, but it probably just goes to show how big this creature is. I do like the mouth coming out of there, and then the demon sort of mouth coming out of his arm as well. And then even if we look a bit closer, you got this little thing here. This looks like a little Nurgling Rotigus wannabe. It's got like a fly type head and some claw things and another little skull for his staff as well. So yeah, really impressive model. Really like this model. They've done it justice. But like I say, you've always got the option to go ahead with the you know, the toad-like looking one from Forgeworld. So that is the Great Unclean one from GW. You've then got this Infernal Legions collection, which is just the sort of collector's edition version of the Codex with the data cards for £60. The collector's edition, as always, is £50, which is double the price of the normal, but you get a, I think you get a page key. Yeah, you get a black ribbon marker, you get soft touch cover, you get black page edges as well, and original cover art on the first page. So yeah, a little bit more special. I like that they've put Nurgle on the front and on the back. So they're really pushing this. They don't have Khorne anymore on this, or well, they do have it on the you know, the standard one, but on the collectors you do have the Nurgle, which is very tempting for myself. Then you've got the Garden of Nurgle, so just 3 feculent Narmors. You have the Maggotkin of Nurgle Essentials, which includes the tome for the Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it includes the War Scrolls. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it just flew out my head for a moment. So you get those as well. Then you can get the standard edition of the Codex with the cards, £35. You know, the cards are obviously £10, but it does have Khorne on the front. Would have been nice to have Nurgle on the front this time around, but they've got that on the collector's edition if you wanted to go that route. Then Horticulus Slimeworks. This isn't a new model by any means. It came out last year. I can say last year now officially, in 2017. Came out with the Blight War box set. Now, getting the Blight War box set will undoubtedly save you money over getting this model separately. This model, they're charging £32.50, which is just about reasonable when you consider that Primaris Space Marines are £22.50 each. For an extra £10, look at the size of the model and the detail that you're getting. I don't always want to use the you know, overly expensive Primaris single characters as a base, and they should never be. The base should really be the £15 sort of Nurgle models. So this, in a way, is double one of those. But yeah, the Blight War box set, if you haven't already said it, includes this £32.50 model. So you're then paying £60 or so for the £50 Nurgle Start Collecting set, and a load of Age of Sigmar stuff, and sort of like a little game and stuff as well. So if you're going down this route, it might be cheaper just to get him in this bundle, which they're still selling at the moment. So Horticulus Slimuts, what more can I say? He's this excellent little snail with, instead of a carrot on the snick, it's this gorgeous tasty looking Nurgling dangling in front of him, and he obviously likes them very much. Would you say that he's then like a carnivore? So yeah, carnivorous snail then, really. And then you've got Horticulus himself, kind of looks like a sort of hillbilly type. I can say that because you know, from Norfolk, so he's got like this with this little bone toothpick kind of thing. Yeah, lots of detail going on here. Even comes with like a little mini sort of feculent Narmor tree on the back, with his little shop of horrors, probably a relation to Sly Marbo's little plant that he's got on his base. But there you go, that's Horticulus. If you wanted to get him separately, you can do now. Then we've just got the standard editions of the codexes, the Battle Tome, Maggotkin of Nurgle, £25, and the Codex Chaos Demons. Let's have a little look at this codex. Yeah, it does have Khorne on the front, even though they're pushing big time the release of all the Nurgle things. The amount of pages, which I'm pleased that they are doing now, telling you how many pages are in these books, 144. So it's no slouch. It's a decent sized codex, that 144, very decent, and it will have the rules for all the Chaos Gods and their Infernal Legions, which includes Khorne, Slanesh, Tzeentch, and Nurgle, along with all their servants, and it includes everything to get your demons ready for games of Warhammer 40,000. 50 data sheets you've got there, 19 unique stratagems, 24 warlord traits, 21 psychic powers, and 6 unique tactical objectives. So yeah, looking great. Really chuffed with this. The artwork I'm really interested in looking in, because this is, let's face it, this will be my first ever sort of Chaos Demons book codex. So I'm looking forward to share this journey with you all. And finally, you've got some digital editions of the codexes. You've got hardback book Castellan being up for pre-order. You've got the Feculent Narmor. So let's have a look at this guy. I'm a bit concerned about the base, because it certainly doesn't really have one. The model itself is the base. I think they should have had a base with it, because then you've got the option of putting it on the base or putting it on your scenery board or whatever. I certainly would love to put this on a scenery board. I really would. Like a Nurgle themed Garden of Nurgle scenery board. I love how there's a little Nurgling sort of peeping out. I don't know whether he's been eaten or whether that is his plan all along, to hide in this crack in the tree. But there you go. These three sort of eye pus filled whatever they are spot things, they've grown on me. Well, not literally, but definitely have warmed to the appearance of the tree a bit more. I still really love this sort of mouth, this gaping maw, with maggots and rotting things and stuff inside. I think that's just incredible. And obviously the bells are a nice touch, and this wibbly wobbly kind of tentacle tube structure on the top, which is reminiscent of the beasts of Nurgle. And also, if you've ever played the game Final Fantasy, they had the creatures like Marlboros. So I think I can definitely see that people have taken some cues from that, with those enemies. Very, very hard enemies in the Final Fantasy games. So that's the Feculent Narmor, £17.50. Not too bad. I don't think that's too bad for the size of it as well. And let's face it, then the Pock Springer, this is just basically your Herald of Nurgle, but I think he's just sort of repackaged. Let's see, will we see... yeah, he is repackaged because it just says Pock Springer, but he is basically the Herald of Nurgle model. Been out for a number of years now, so he is £15. You can get him separately. I think you could always get him separately, actually, but you can get him in the Start Collecting set. Then you've got just the War Scroll cards, £15. Another hardback book, Vampire Wars. Spoiled Pox Scrivener, or Scrivener, I think it's Scrivener. This model, very interesting. This wiry Maw type thing is actually part of the Scrivener himself. As you can see, look, it goes all the way. It's kind of like the Elephant Man in it, almost. It sort of moves around and then goes all the way, and that is that model's mouth.
Very interesting, and pretty much he's the top dog. If you are not dragging your heels as a plague bearer, he is going to turn you into one of those bile pipers. He can do that. So he's also got another little Nurgling, another cute little Nurgling, just chewing up on all of his scrolls. Basically, he carries the extra scrolls rolled up in his gut as well. Secured by knots from his gut as well. So 7 components, £15, same kind of vein as the other sort of single miniatures. There's the sprue look. I think it's a really nice looking model, really odd as well. I love the creativity with all these Nurgle models, how sort of his mouth has gone all the way to the front. He's got his eyes closed, but he's got one cyclopean eye sort of open. Obviously the paint quality for that is just incredible. Kind of reminds me of Slimer as well, off Ghostbusters. Anyway, that is the spoil pox. Then you've got a few other books. So you've got Full Grim in hardback. It's part of the Primark's series of books that were released sort of like limited edition for I think £40, but this one you can now get this just in hardback is £12.99, and that's quite good for £12.99 actually. That's a good sort of price point as well for them. Then you've got Farsight in paperback and just the data card separately, £10, and obviously White Dwarf January 2018. I think that came out today too, but if you haven't already, I posted my video of that I think Wednesday of this week. So there you go, a great looking selection of pre-orders, a lot of pre-orders here this weekend. Next weekend we've still got the Bile Piper, and we've got a few of the Age of Sigmar Nurgle things like the Blight Lord models and the ones on the Rotflies as well. So you've still got quite a few releases coming out. Anyway, I'd like to hear, what have you pre-ordered today, guys? Put it in the comments below. What are you looking forward to? And obviously, what are you looking forward to all of this year too? Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Papa bless.